call this meeting to order. This meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so the citizen may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of the meeting. Roll call.
Gunderson?
Here.
Brunner?
Here.
Kempf is not yet here.
And Sheeney's here.
I'm gonna visit.
Huh.
Yeah.
You can be a citizen today. All right. Guess we need a motion to approve the minutes from the November 10th, 2015 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
And I'll second them. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Citizens appearances? None. Department update.
Slowed down considerably. A lot of that has to do with a good chunk of people being gone for deer hunting and school being out and kids being out of school. Still had a few jug referrals, but nothing like we've seen in the prior few months, and hopefully that trend continues. The mileage on the Dodge Charger I was unable to get because Brandon was in Wausau for training, but it was 136,900 for total miles of 623. That's that. Nothing big's going on. We did start the core verification, and I just wanted to go over a couple of them with you guys so you're on the same page with what we're doing. The first one is harassment in the workplace. And what we have to do is they have a form like here. They say prove that you have a policy or directive in place for harassment in the workplace. So I took the number one, and we have a very good policy on harassment in the workplace. It goes through the policies, procedures, complaint procedures, and the process all the way up to forbidding retaliation. So I'll take, when I get all 30 some of them done, scan them and send them off to these guys, and then they'll start picking them apart. And they're not nitpicks, but they look for loopholes that could be dangerous, I guess. Now that one's probably dangerous. Second one was I pulled out was privacy in locker rooms. For us, that's real easy. We don't have any locker rooms, but to do it and do it right, we're going to come up with a policy on locker rooms because there will be locker rooms in the new building.
Right.
And if we're going to dig into it and do it, we'll do it. So I don't have one for that. The third one was expander of jurisdiction, which was defining our jurisdiction and when we go out of it, what are the parameters and the reasons. Doesn't exist. So that one's going to have to start at ground zero.
We don't have one.
It doesn't specifically say what the jurisdiction is and then what the reasons are for going beyond it.
Huh.
Which I'm not surprised because it probably never was an issue. Now we have a mutual aid agreement with the county and all the other agencies, which is the next one.
Right.
So we're covered there, but what they're saying is what language do we have saying that if the Fremont Police Department calls and says, hey, you need to come down here and there's a bank robbery. Okay, these are the reasons you're leaving town. Assist out of the department. Transport documents to court. Transport prisoners to jail. We don't have one. It's not to go to Walmart shop or
Right.
whatever. So those are the first few that we're coming up with. So as soon as I get a policy written on the privacy in locker rooms and the expander jurisdiction, we'll bring them back here, hopefully for next month and maybe even a few more. Prior to, we'll probably run them by whoever at Davis and Kuthal, who's stepping in for Mr. Calney. Once they send it back like they're doing with the Narcan, we'll bring it in, you guys approve it, and then it's done, and we'll move on to the next set. And that's all I have for you.
Perfect. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks. So next one is discussion and possible action on part-time officers' ballistic vests.
We have never provided our part-time officers with a ballistic vest, and a lot of them, I don't know if it's 50-50, come here with them because they've trained, but some of them are coming here from training at places where they provide the vest for them when they're doing firearms. We have two part-timers now, one who does not have one, who's in training, and is a ways out from being in a position to need one, and then one of our part-timers who's been here for a year and a half who has a very old one. And she asked me, hey, is there any way the city could help out with this? And I thought about it, and I said, well, we don't want to get in the habit of buying $600 or $700 vests for part-time people who historically go away.
No, but we also don't want them hurt
Right.
while they're working for us.
So I thought a fair thing to do would be to, assuming that they're all eventually going to go away, is say, here's the dollar amount, so they're not going out and buying a $2,000 vest, but it's $600 or $800. The city maybe will match your half. So we'll put $300 towards your vest, or just say we'll put a dollar amount towards it and say, here you go, and then have maybe some arrangement. If they leave the next week,
What is the average vest that you guys wear cost?
between 800 and 1,000.
Yeah, 2,000.
And that's the vest and 2 carriers usually.
Right.
So I think Brandon and I's last year was right around $2,050. But there are other options out there. There's a lot more expensive and there's a lot less expensive.
All right, should we be looking at something like a minimum number of hours they work for us, and then a dollar amount, say $300 or $400, whatever it would be, that we would put towards a vest?
Well, the one we have now, who came in with her own, it's expiring, and she's met that criteria.
Well, she has.
Blown it out of the water.
Well, and I'm not looking at her. I'm looking future, right? I'm looking at future
Right.
part-time people to protect us from providing money for somebody who then
Leaves.
leaves real quickly or hardly ever works for us.
Right.
One sort of comparable is the tuition and training reimbursement program that we have, where we passed this and it's in the budget up to $500 a year. Somebody can get reimbursed either if they go and they do leadership training or maybe they seek a degree or whatever. Within that policy, I believe we have a stipulation that, so you get the $500, but if you stay working for the city for the next 2 years after you get it, then you're free and clear. But if you leave any time in that 2 years, that $500 gets prorated over how much you worked for 2 years, and then you owe however short you are for the 2 years. So I mean, there's something of a precedent where a similar dollar amount, if somebody stays for a year or 2 years, you can say, we're clear to go. The problem with part-timers is that you can set like an hour limit, but you don't know how many hours
Yeah.
you're going to need them.
Right.
And how much,
I don't want to limit to that. Like I said, I don't want anybody out there in outdated equipment
Right.
or without any, and the thought of them getting hurt while they're working for us
Right. And
doesn't feel good.
I think it's a goodwill effort. I asked both who were in need. I said, hey, if it was halfway, would that be appropriate? And both were like, that'd be awesome. And like I said, one has earned it and the other one is going to be in a position to need it, who's just starting out. And I think it's important that we attempt to provide that safeguard.
I think I would ask that you'd go back and write a proposal, because and figure out what you would want. If you said $400 maximum, and then figure out some sort of stipulations, like Patrick said. Okay, you have to
Yeah.
work, 2 years part-time or whatever your policy you think, because plus you're gonna have to find the money in your budget.
Well, that we'll find. It's the language, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow as to how to figure it out. Because once they put that thing on, it's theirs.
Right, yeah, that's
we
just
don't-
it. You can't.
And if they get it from us and go work the water patrol or Manawa and they're wearing it, and something happens over there, it's theirs. I mean, if it's junk and they fall in the drink and they can't use it again, you're not coming back for
Right.
round 2.
Right, and that's just stuff that I would like out there written down in your policy for us to come back and then approve. But, I think it's important that everybody that gets in our squad car is wearing their proper PPE.
Yeah. All right, we'll look at that tomorrow if there's time.
Thursday would be good too.
Yeah, Thursday's probably better.
The only other thing I'll throw out there too, just for comparison, is the winter safety clothing for Public Works and what we had
Right.
passed through about a year and a half ago was roughly $400 to $450 worth of
Right,
high vis winter wear
right,
that we had issued like as an initial issue to full-time public works guys.
Right.
So I mean, we've sort of done these things
We have
because you
done
figure
them.
out that they need it. A
You're
safety
right.
vest you need, or your ballistic vest you need.
You know, in this day and age, you definitely have to have it.
And it's rare. I mean, the only other time this would happen is if we have somebody who's been here for 5 years working part-time. Well, hey, if you're putting in that kind of time, maybe we'd replace your vest, but if it's
Right,
somebody we're looking at 6 months to 18 months, you know, that's a career path driven person,
Yep.
we'd like to get a little bit back on the back end.
oh, absolutely. You know, and that's something you may want to consider with your one that's been here for how many years has she been here?
Oh, she's gonna be coming up on 2.
Too. You know, you might want to look at after a while, if you're part-time people too, you know, when do you want to say, okay, you know, if you're ever going to, if you're always going to be one of our part-time people,
Yeah.
you know, permanent part-time, as it were, well then maybe they are entitled to something
To get in the rotation.
in the rotation.
I just wanted to see if everybody was amenable to it, because that's a big expense for them,
It is.
and it's a big liability for them on every level.
Well,
And that would be a pretty good attractant for, you know,
any thoughts, Bruce?
No, just a question on handguns, they have to, is that provided by
no,
your
they,
department?
when they come out of, like the newest one out of Fox Valley Tech, they've trained with the weapon that they have. We bring it in, we get the serial number, Matt takes them out, shoots with it on the range if it's an acceptable gun to us, and all of them have been.
Okay,
They're comfortable with it, we let them use it, they get their own holster, it's theirs, because they may be going from here to the water patrol or
Right.
wherever, and we don't want to send our gun anywhere
I was
else.
just curious after we're talking about the vest, yeah, okay.
So. That's it.
So that's an acceptable. You'll go back and work on it and bring it back next month at the meeting.
Yeah.
And is that an acceptable time frame for her vest?
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it needs to be replaced. So it's not it has to be done in the next 2 weeks type of thing. It's
Okay.
How long are they good for, Jerry?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
And all of our other vests are on the rotation now. We've got them all
Yep, we should be staggered now,
perfect.
1 a year. And maybe that'll work if we have a longer part-time person, because each officer rotates every 4 years. The 5th year they'll get the vest, and then that leaves one out there. So maybe that will be the one we use for the permanent part-timer if they're here, or just plug them in.
Or whatever you can work out. All right. Are there any such other matters?
And the other item I've got is Thursday night, Gold Cross has called. It's like the next. I keep forgetting the word on what they call it, consortium. All the towns and the cities that are all being serviced by Gold Cross and are all subject to the per capita rate, because it's universal. Everybody's paying the same rate. Their next meeting is this Thursday, and it's at Weyauwega in their library. I'm planning on going. They are going to introduce like the 2 newest members, which is Town of Dale, Village of Hortonville, and they're also going to finalize what the rate is going to be for 2016.
What time's that meeting?
6.
6?
Yep, I was thinking 6 or 6:30.
Do you want the room number? I have the flyer right over here.
I think there's only the 2 rooms down there, right?
That one that we were at one other time.
Yeah. As far as I know, there's only 2, but I haven't been down there a whole lot.
I think it's the council, the one that they hold the council meetings in.
Oh, okay.
Because it's bigger,
Yeah.
Probably.
because they've got everybody and their reps coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the library meeting room A.
I think that's the bigger one.
At 6 p.m.
But we will have people there, but that's their next meeting, and like I said, we budgeted for the $11.89 per person, which is what they told us the number was. But they also told us that as Dale and Hortonville got on, it could push closer to about $11. So, I mean, there might be a little bit of a savings, about $1,200 if they cut the rate down to 11. So, But that's this Thursday.
All right. Well, that's it. I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I guess I could second
It's
it.
too easy.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
6:58.
6:50.